Welcome. We think of food as fuel, right? It's comfort, it's health. But what if I told you that as we get older, the rules of the game totally change? The power is still on your plate, but you've got to know how to use it. So, let's get into it.
So let me ask you something. Picture your ideal healthy breakfast. Maybe some fresh squeezed juice, a nice bowl of fruit, an omelet packed with spinach. Sounds great, doesn't it? But what if those very things, for anyone over 65, could actually be hiding a risk? It's kind of a wild thought.
And this is where things get really interesting. Check this out. A study found that almost half of all seniors in the US are taking 5 or more different drugs every single day. That's a lot. So we're not just talking about food by itself anymore. We're talking about a complex chemical reaction happening on your plate and in your body. When you've got that many meds in the mix, what you eat isn't just important, it's absolutely critical.
All right, so let's set the stage here. The whole idea is that your plate is powerful, right? But it's not just about calories or vitamins anymore. It's about really understanding that as our bodies change, the way we need to think about food has to change too. Our awareness has to keep up.
It's just a fact of life, right? As we get older, our immune systems, well, they're not the superheroes they used to be. Our natural defenses can get a bit weaker, and that means older adults are just more likely to get sick from foodborne illnesses. Now, if you're also managing something like diabetes, that can weaken your defenses even more, which really raises the stakes.
Okay, so let's get into the first big hidden danger. I call this the interaction effect, and it's a huge one. This is where foods you'd never think twice about, stuff you probably eat all the time, can secretly mess with your medications. And we're not talking about small stuff. The consequences can be really serious.
And this is what blows my mind. We're not talking about some weird, exotic superfood. We're talking about a spinach salad or a glass of grapefruit juice. Things we're told are healthy, but they could be completely undermining the medicine that's supposed to be protecting you. It's wild.
Just take a look at this. It gets really specific. You've got grapefruit, which can mess with statins and blood pressure drugs. Then you have leafy greens. Yeah, the super healthy stuff, which are packed with vitamin K. Well, that can actually make blood thinners like warfarin less effective. And it's not just produce. Even black licorice or some of those salt substitutes can mess with your potassium levels. And trust me, that is a huge deal if you're concerned about your heart or your kidneys.
So you're probably wondering, how does this even happen? Well, the FDA has a pretty cool way of explaining it, especially with grapefruit. So inside your gut, you've got this little enzyme. Think of it like a traffic cop, directing how medicine gets absorbed. What grapefruit juice does is it basically ties up the traffic cop. It blocks the enzyme. The result? A massive pileup of medication in your bloodstream. Way more of the drug gets in than your body can handle, and that can be really, really dangerous.
All right, so we've talked about food messing with drugs. Let's switch gears to the second big risk, contamination. We're talking about food poisoning here, and the scary part is it's caused by these tiny, invisible invaders in our food. Things you can't see, you can't smell, and you definitely can't taste.
And here's the thing you have to remember. Anybody can get food poisoning, right? But for older adults, the stakes are so much higher. What might be a really bad day or two for a younger person, well, for someone over 65, it could mean a trip to the hospital, or even worse. Their bodies just don't have the same firepower to fight it off. So this leads to some pretty clear-cut choices you can make. Take sushi, for example. We all love it, but because it's raw, it's a riskier choice. Any little bugs in there haven't been killed off by heat. So the much safer bet? Fish that's cooked thoroughly. That heat is literally your best friend when it comes to killing off anything nasty. Same exact principle with eggs. A runny yolk is delicious, I get it, but it's a gamble. The safest way to go is to cook them until the white and the yolk are both solid. And don't forget, that goes for anything made with raw eggs too, like a homemade Caesar dressing or that holiday eggnog.
And there are a few other things the CDC says to watch out for. Raw sprouts, like alfalfa sprouts, unpasteurized or raw milk and soft cheeses made from it, deli meats and hot dogs, unless you heat them up till they're steaming hot. And here's a surprising one, raw cookie dough. And get this, it's not just about the raw eggs anymore. Turns out, raw flour can also carry some pretty nasty germs. Who knew?
So you see, it's not always about one specific risky food. Sometimes the danger is a lot sneakier. It can be hidden in our day-to-day eating habits, our dietary patterns, and these can often fall into one of two extremes.
So on one side, you have the problem of too much.
A Harvard study found that just by increasing sugary drinks by a little bit each day, the risk for type 2 diabetes went up by 16%. But here's the real shocker. That number includes 100% fruit juice. Yeah, the stuff we all thought was the ultimate healthy choice. Turns out, it's not so simple.
Then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have something called tea and toast syndrome. Now, it doesn't mean someone is only eating tea and toast. It's really a catch-all term for a diet that's become too simple, too repetitive. It's what can happen when cooking gets harder and you end up missing out on essential nutrients. It's a really sneaky form of malnutrition that can cause a slow, steady decline in your health.
And the symptoms are so easy to miss. You might just write them off as, part of getting older. Feeling tired all the time, muscles feeling weak, maybe even having trouble with your memory. That's why it's so important for everyone, for individuals, and for the people who care for them to recognize these signs for what they could be.
Okay, so we've laid out a lot of the risks, but just knowing the problems isn't enough, right? Knowledge is power, but action is everything. So now let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about how you can take back control and build your own food safety toolkit.
It really comes down to a simple 4-step action plan. Number 1, talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Ask them directly about your medications and any food interactions. Seriously, just ask. Number 2, become a label reader. Get in the habit of checking every food and drug label. Number 3, make your own personal watch-out list, a simple list of foods you need to be careful with. And number 4, stick to the basics of food safety at home. It's 4 simple words: clean, separate, cook, and chill. That's it.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final thought. A question, really. After hearing about all this, what's the first conversation that pops into your head? Is it a talk you need to have with your doctor? Maybe with a parent or a grandparent? Or maybe it's just a new conversation you need to have with yourself next time you sit down to eat.